All right, so I'm here on behalf of Ecclesia. So I mentioned it a little bit earlier, but Ecclesia is a social protocol that is designed to be highly censorship resistant and ownerless. We aim to provide people of all ideologies in all countries a method of self-expression that nobody can take away from them, and also do it in a manner that's conducive to forming ideological discussion. The first inkling for Ecclesia actually came in December of 2020, before the censorship of several high-profile figures on social media. One of my very close friends is a Chinese political refugee who fled to the US after his family was detained in China. So he came here by himself, and for the last couple of years, he has been working with a couple of groups to help promote free speech in China. He was telling me about it, and I was like vaguely aware of the censorship resistance of blockchain, and so I figured that there might be a way for us to apply this to help him achieve his goal. I started getting a little bit better understanding of blockchain, and I decided that one possibility could be if there may be a way to pay users to anonymously store and serve data with Ethereum. Now, while I was, analyzing this possibility and looking kind of how it would work, it was during this time that several mainstream political figures in the U.S. got taken off Twitter. And at first, I didn't think that my idea would have really any use in the Western world because competition could easily spring up. But when we saw the competition to Twitter get taken down by other companies, I knew that there could really be an actual use case for this in the Western world. Not too long after this, I began looking at Filecoin storage to see which one would be a better fit for a platform like this. And while comparing the two, I actually found an article that mentioned Arweave. I began looking at Arweave and realized that it had the scalability and the permanence that would really be necessary to create a platform like this. Now, the issue of censorship on current Web 2 social networks is pretty widely known, and I don't think I need to explain the problem of big tech censorship. Furthermore, using blockchain to solve the problem of big tech censorship isn't an entirely unique idea. Projects such as Steemit, Mastodon, and Minds have been around for quite a while now. However, these projects have all, in one way or another, really missed the mark. Let's take, for example, the most recent up-and-comer Minds. Minds is essentially blockchain Twitter. However, their use of blockchain for the problems they set out to solve is a misattribution of the technology at best. Rewards are paid in crypto, but the platform is hosted on Amazon Web Services and relies both on the Apple App Store and on Google Play. They're not really a blockchain application, in my opinion. They're more of a Web 2 application that pays people in crypto. Specifically, they're centralized, which means that while they might not censor their users, they themselves can be censored. In the case of Section 230 in the US being repealed, they would be forced legally to be liable for what people post on their platform, and therefore would either have to shut down or begin censoring. Obviously, this is a huge problem with any sort of centralized social network. And it's pretty clear to most people here how Web3 can solve these problems, but simply throwing up a decentralized Twitter is not a very good solution either. The drawbacks and user requirements of Web3 are enough to turn off the majority of the public. I sort of talked about this in my last speech, but I'll get into the specifics of it with Ecclesia. As optimistic of a person as I am, I really don't see wallet management becoming widely accepted. I just don't think I talked about the early majority in my previous speech. I don't think the early manage their own wallets. Frankly, I don't even know if I would manage my own wallet when there's Web 2 alternatives where you can use just a regular username and password flow, or it doesn't have to be that, but really just a way where you can very conveniently access your dApp and you're not limited to certain devices. So the second main issue that arises with Web3 is the need for an exchange. I'm located in the US, and so for me to get AR, I had to make a Coinbase account, buy Bitcoin, get a VPN, make an MXC account, transfer the Bitcoin to MXC, and then transfer it to my wallet. I then learned about Bilixi. But regardless of which method of those you use, it's certainly not great, especially when you're trying to onboard users as quickly as possible. So here we've outlined two critical problems with Web 2 and two critical problems with Web 3. And Ecclesia is here to solve all of them. By building an entirely decentralized stack, we're able to create a fully unknown, censorship-resistant platform. Even if we wanted to censor our users, we couldn't. Calling back to Minds, the Web 2, Web 3 hybrid platform, had to adjust and reallocate some of their resources because Google Play threatened to take them down. Also, with Section 230 in the U.S. is gaining a lot of heat. There's significant liability for them that's forcing them to take preemptive measures. Ecclesia simply won't have this because there's no way for Ecclesia to comply. Nobody owns it, and it's just simply not possible. This is one of the benefits of decentralizing the whole stack. It really is a be-all, end-all counter to censorship. But that really only solves the problems of Web 2, and there's an equal amount of problems that need to be solved with Web 3. I mentioned in my previous speech the Ecclesia login module that we've released uses AES 256 encryption. It uses the username salt, or it uses the username to salt. This prevents rainbow hash attacks. And while this is not as secure as just having your own private key, and someone said in the chat that all forms of encryption have been broken, and that is very true. It's a trade-off of security for scalability, in our opinion, and I think it's something each dApp has to have its own. And so it's really just a matter of philosophy. That's how we're solving the first problem with Web 3. Secondly, we mentioned the bundling system, but we're also looking at integrating certain APIs that would support AR, so that just straight into our platform, we can build in that people have a one-time payment, they create their account, they don't even need to know what cryptocurrency is. That's really the main benefit of combining a fiat to crypto on-ramp and then also back-end wallet management, is that users can use crypto, they can experience the full effects of blockchain, but at no point do they need to understand blockchain or even know that they're using it. And I think that's actually a huge value add when appealing to the Web 2 audience. Now, zooming out a little more to actual platform itself, Ecclesia solves another problem that's sort of endemic to social platforms. The network effect is the way by which social network users are disincentivized to leave the predominant platforms since their connections are already on that platform. You can see that here. If they were to move to a competitor, they would not have as rich an experience because their friends and family are not on there, and they rely on that content creation. This has formed a pseudo-monopoly, and it's why it's really hard for a lot of competitors to pop up. However, one place where we've seen this broken down is with LinkedIn, in which they cut the network by business connections. Ecclesia is trying to do the same thing, except we're cutting it by ideology. What this looks like in practice is that users can come on without any of their friends or family on there, because the main point of interaction is being able to interact with mainstream political figures. We actually sort of saw this happen with Parler, and while we're not hoping to build the next Parler, it was a great proof of concept in that people were leaving for this new platform that didn't have their social networks on there because that wasn't the value add. And that's really what Ecclesia is building for. So we were hoping to showcase a video of our MVP. However, it decided to pose some serious problems. You can see our landing page right there, and then our two libraries. One of them, Ecclesia 2, that is the front end, and the Ecclesia protocol is the back end. It's essentially how all the different posts, querying, commenting, creating accounts, following functions. You may be wondering what happened to our showcase on Twitter. So the showcase that we released on Twitter was written in Angular, and we began to run into some, not necessarily problems with Angular, but some issues that we realized would hamper user experience. And that's the absolute last thing we wanted. We decided that it would be better to take a major setback and begin rebuilding in React than to continue down the wrong path with Angular. Even though it set us back, it ultimately will lead to the best user experience. And so it was sort of a necessary decision that we had to make. This video is still up on our Twitter. You can go check it out. And it'll give you a general idea of what the React version is looking like. But when we went to go and pull up the React version for the demo, we started having some problems with it. And we realized that it really was not important because the Ecclesia team has actually been making some really good progress elsewhere. So despite the stubbornness of this React version, we have still a lot of progress to show. This has sort of been our timeline. So we started by designing and essentially figuring out how to create an accessible, fully decentralized stack. And this is really what I think our team has done super well, is we've gathered input from mainstream political figures. We have a somewhat unfair advantage when we're trying to come into this space of creating a platform for ideologies. A couple of our members have some pretty good connections with some fairly mainstream political figures, and so this has given us a lot of firsthand research to be able to reach out to them and to get some feedback. And the feedback we've gotten has been extremely encouraging, and is sort of what prompted me to quit my job. because we believe that in the way we're trying to build this platform, we have firsthand evidence from these people that this could be something huge. Now we're currently prototyping, building, and testing. We just moved from Angular to React. And then after that, we need to focus on building out scalability to allow easier user onboarding and to allow mass use. Lastly, I would like to briefly introduce our team because I think we have a really wide range of experience and it gives us a lot of value as a team. Starting with myself, I have some experience in founding and growing businesses. This is my first time venturing into the tech world, but I still do have the workflow management skills and the knowledge to add value and move forward. I also have a background in engineering. Moving over to Tom. Tom is currently a full stack developer at IBM. He also has experience in cloud services, and he's worked business development for a couple different blockchain startups, including Arweave in late 2017 and early 2018. Down to Thomas. Thomas has a lot more general program experience. Developer and backend engineering is mainly what his experience is in computer science. He's been learning JavaScript for both front end and back end, so he's been super helpful in us sort of balancing the load on that. Lastly, Luke. So Luke, he does public relations for us. He currently works as a regulatory specialist for a New York City-based consulting firm. However, before this, he was a staffer in the US Senate. This has helped a lot in us reaching out to our target political audience and realizing that we are on the right track here to build something great. Lastly, we believe that no team is perfect. And so if you want to get involved, then we would certainly be interested in having you. We're looking for a very wide range of positions, but overall, I would say the one absolute necessary thing that you need to have to join our team would be to be competitive. There's a lot of other people trying to break into this space, and there's very high risk, very high reward. We believe we're in the perfect situation to do this, as well as anybody else. And if you're competitive, then I think you would probably be able to agree with that. And so we would want you on our team. If this sounds like you, then definitely come and reach out to us. We have our Discord link here as well as our Twitter handle. We'll also have this at our table later. If you're not, looking to join our team, but you still want to get involved, maybe give some input, or maybe just watch the building happening, then definitely come along. I look forward to hearing from you guys, and thank you.